Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All right. Hey, this is pretty cool. Change my view. It's pretty cool. Anyway, so let's get started. We're online with Facebook and also YouTube at this particular point. So let's chant Jai Radhamadava. I think we got everything ready. Pretty good. Okay, here we go. Get the guitar. All right, go to the deities. Turn off this light. All right. Jaya Radhamadava, Jaya Kunja Vihare, Jaya Radhamadava, Jaya Kunja Vihare, Vichana Palava, Jaya Girivadurare, Jaya Girivadurare, Vichana Palava, Jaya Girivadurare, Jaya Girivadurare, Yasodhanandana, Vrajjananandana, Yasodhanandana, Vrajjananandana, Yamunatira Manacharinayo, Kunja Vihare, Jaya Kunja Vihare, Yamunatira Manacharinayo, Kunja Vihare, Jaya Kunja Vihare, Radhamadava, Jaya Kunja Vihare, Jaya Radhamadava, Jaya Kunja Vihare, Vichana Palapa, Jaya Girivadurate, Jaya Girivadurate, Vichana Palapa, Jaya Girivadurate, Jaya Girivadurate, Yasodhanandana, Jaya Vrajjananandana, Yasodhanandana, Jaya Vrajjananandana, Yamunatira Padacharinayo, Kunja Vihare, Kunja Vihare, Yamunatira Manacharinayo, Kunja Vihare, Jaya Kunja Vihare, Jaya Radhamadava, Jaya Kunja Vihare, Jaya Radhamadava, Jaya Kunja Vihare. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravikacharya Old Stuteta Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Savaya Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anandagoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Param Seiko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopikavadnath Sayam Kund Radhakunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavanam ki jai. Mathuram ki jai. Jagannath Swami ki jai. Yamunamai ki jai. Srimati Lasi Devi ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premananda Hari 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 Bol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Budle Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nibashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dejatarani. So, Omaganatimiranda Shah Garanjana Shalakya Chakshur Meditam Yena Tasmai Shigurve Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master's divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai, who has opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So we're going to continue our study with the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. We are on chapter 10 of the Adi Lila, and we're going to start with text 86 in chapter 10. Today we had to attend, we chose to attend, a funeral ceremony for one of my disciples who passed away. He was a very wonderful disciple. It's a great loss for all of us, and for the family, of course, and for Krishna consciousness. He was a great musician, a humble devotee, and very dedicated to serving the Vaishnavas. Amazing personality. He never criticized the Vaishnava. So today we went there, and today we also started to look for some preaching opportunities in the state capital, Raleigh. Okay, so with that in mind, we are going to share, because I'm so merciful, I share with you all. We're going to share the Caitanya Caritamrta, at least share our screen. Maybe not the whole Caitanya Caritamrta, but our screen with you. And then we will start reading. There we go. Let me just set this up. Whoops. Hold on a second. It skipped. It skipped for a second. Oh, wait a second. Caitanya Caritamrta. That's actually shared. Let's just do share again. We are going to share Caitanya Caritamrta. Here we go. There we go. And we will put the participants up. Give me 1 second. All right. I think I need to make that a little smaller. One second. All right. We are ready. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Malira Gijaya Shaka Bhuta Vadila Madhya Paschima Desha Sabachadila. Alrighty. By the will of the Supreme Gardener, the branches of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami grew many times over, expanding throughout the Western countries and covering the entire region. Wow. Let's just see what happens with the Bengali there. Yeah, Paschima. Wow. Western countries. That's us. That's the same as we find in Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra. Paschita. Namaste Saraswati Devi. Gaurabani Pachari. Nivashesha Sundabadi. Paschacha Desha Tarini. Same thing. Paschacha Paschima Desha. Jai. So Srila Prabhupada is carrying out the will of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Rupa Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami. Prabhupada there is their most intimate servant. So, Sindhu Nadi Tirahara Himalaya Vrindavana Mathuradi Yatta Tirtha Hoya, extending to the borders of the river Sindhu and the Himalayan mountain valleys, these two branches expanded throughout India, including all the places of pilgrimage such as Vrindavana, Mathura, and Haridwara. Dvishakara Prema Pale Sakala Basila Prema Polaswade Loka Unmata Haihila. The fruits of love of Godhead, which fructified on these two branches, were distributed in abundance. Tasting these fruits, everyone became mad after them. Paschimera Lokasava Buddha Anachara Tahan Prachila Adonhe Bhakti Sadachara. The people in general on the western side of India, that's not us, but I guess we're on the western side of India, but we're not in India. We're neither intelligent nor well behaved. But by the influence of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they were trained in devotional service and good behavior. So there's two ways to understand this verse. The people on the western side of India, like over the western side, that's us, are not so well behaved. Although it is not only in Western India that people were contaminated by association with Muslims, it is a fact that the farther west one goes from India, the more he will find people to be fallen from the Vedic culture. Until 5,000 years ago, when the entire planet was under the control of Maharaj Parikshit, the Vedic culture was current everywhere. Gradually, however, people were influenced by non-Vedic culture, and they lost sight of how to behave in connection with devotional service. Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami very kindly preached the bhakti cult in Western India, and following their footsteps, the propagators of Chaitanya cult in the Western countries are spreading the Sankirtan movement and inculcating the principles of Vaishnava behavior, thus purifying and reforming many persons who were previously accustomed to the culture of malechas and yavanas. All of our devotees in the Western countries give up their old habits of illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling. Of course, 500 years ago, these practices were unknown in India, at least in eastern India. But unfortunately, at present, all of India has been victimized by these non-Vedic principles, which are sometimes even supported by the government. So it's an interesting statement that Prabhupada makes here. The further west you get, the more degraded you get. And actually, we see that even within the United States. Of course, please forgive me, those living in California and those living in Hawaii, please forgive me. But you see that even in the United States and in Europe too, and all over. I mean, of course, everything became contaminated. But in Europe, you really had some remnant of the Varnashram culture. I mean, of course, it was like a Sura Varnashram. That means demoniac Varnashram. But, you had kings and knights and things like that. So you had some understanding. And even you have some great philosophers like Plato, who talked about the different varnas. Of course, he didn't use the word varna. And you had different philosophers like Pythagoras, who taught about reincarnation and actually had his own spiritual society. Really, really interesting. And he was a vegetarian. So you have some indication of some Indian influence in Europe. Of course, you have Greece, but then you get further west than Greece in Europe, and it gets really degraded. And all in America, ooh, all hell breaks loose. So, and you go further west, for those of you, sorry about this, in Australia, then you end up in real problems. And you get a penal colony on your hands. That means a criminal colony. So anyway, so Shastra Drishte Kala Lupta Tirthara Hudhara Vrindavane Kaila Sri Murti Sivara Prachara. In accordance with the directions of the revealed scriptures, both Goswamis excavated the lost places of pilgrimage and inaugurated the worship of deities in Vrindavana. The spot where we now find Shri Radhakund was an agricultural field during the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. A small reservoir of water was there, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed in that water and pointed out that originally Radhakund existed in that location. Following his directions, Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami renovated Radhakund. This is one of the brilliant examples of how the Goswamis excavated lost places of pilgrimage. Actually, directly, it was Raghunath Das Goswami organized the renovation and the excavation of Radhakund. Similarly, it is through the endeavor of the Goswamis that all the important temples in Vrindavan were established. Originally, there were 7 important Gaudiya Vaishnava temples established in Vrindavan, namely the Madan Mohan Temple, Govinda Temple, Gopinath Temple, Shri Radharaman Temple, Radhashyam Sundara Temple, Radha Damodar Temple, and Gokulananda Temple. So one interesting thing about many of the deities in the temples that were established by the Goswamis of Vrindavan, these deities were actually discovered by the Goswamis. Not in every case. I mean, obviously, in the case of the Radharaman Temple, that was a self-manifested deity of Gopal Bhatta Goswami that appeared from a Shalagram Shila. But in many of the cases, the deities that were being worshipped, and not only these temples, but actually Kamyavan with Vrenda Devi and other deities, I think it was Manasi Devi in the Manasi Ganga area, and the Shringadev deity at Govardhan, and so many other deities at Govardhan. So many of these deities were already there when the Goswamis arrived, but they were hidden, buried underground, just like you have Gopal deity that was discovered by Madhavendra Puri, because that deity was later taken out of Vrindavan and sent to Natwar, and he's Srinathji right now. So these deities were there, and how did they get there? Well, some of them were self-manifested deities, like Haridev. Haridev is the presiding deity of Govardhan. So before you go on Govardhan Parikrama, you're supposed to go to Haridev and get permission. Haridev is a very wonderful deity. What happened? How did he manifest himself? Is once upon a time, the gopis were looking for Krishna. And they were crying out, Haridev, Haridev, Haridev. And then this deity manifested himself, and the deity is actually holding up Govardhan Hill. Well, he's in the pose of holding up Govardhan Hill with the pinky of his left hand. And that's the deity you're supposed to approach before you do the Govardhan Parikrama. You're not supposed to start at Radhakund. You're supposed to start at the Haridev temple, get permission, and then you go around Govardhan. So that deity was self-manifested. But many of the deities were originally installed by Brajanabha. Who was Brajanabha? The great-grandson of Krishna. Because when Krishna left the planet, of course you have Prajuna, and Prajuna's son, Aniruddha, and Aniruddha's son, Brajanabha. And Brajanabha, he came to Vrindavan to install these deities and to establish originally all these holy places that were later covered up and then later discovered by the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And when he went to Vrindavan, he went with some of Krishna's wives that were still there, and other devotees, of course, and they had kirtan. And as they were having the kirtan, what normally happens when you're having a kirtan is that Krishna manifests himself. And so Krishna manifested himself, and the gopis manifested themselves, and Uddhava manifested himself externally to the vision of Brajanabha. And they were appearing and dancing in the middle of the kirtan of Brajanabha. And later on they disappeared. So Brajanabha actually established the original holy places and enabled the Goswamis of Vrindavan to understand where Krishna had done whatever he did when he was on this planet. Very, very interesting. So that's Brajanabha. And one thing I was going to mention about Brajanabha, I forgot I was going to mention. Anyway, so he's a very, very important personality. And so the Goswamis found the deities, and they established the deities in temples. They built the temples. Some of the temples were built by the Mughal emperor. Wow. Akbar. So anyway, I'm not going to tell the whole history right now, but that's part of the history of Vrindavan. And those temples were threatened later on when Aurangzeb was the emperor. And Aurangzeb was so terrible, he was considered to be an incarnation of Kamsa, but he was so bad that he put his own father in prison. What was his own father's name? Shah Jahan. And his own father was madly in love with his wife who had passed away. And the story goes that he made the Taj Mahal, or he converted a Lord Shiva temple into the Taj Mahal. So anyway, one of the two things happened. And Shah Jahan, he sent his men to tear down the temples, destroy the deities, so the residents of Vrindavan had to take the deities out of Vrindavan and escape with them. And originally they went to the Radhakund area, and then after that, they took the deities further west to different places in Jaipur. So that's the story of Vrindavan. Samahaprabhura Priya Bharicha Raghunatha Dasa Sarvatyagi Kaila Prabhura Paratale Vasa. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, the 46th branch of the tree, was one of the most dear servants of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He left all his material possessions to surrender completely unto the Lord and live at his lotus feet. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhasha, that's his commentary, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami was most probably born in the year 1416, Shikalda. That's year of our Lord, AD 1494, in a Kayashta family. That's a Jewish family. Oh, sorry. No, it's a business family. As the son of Govardhan Majumdara, who was the younger brother of the Zen Zamindar, Haranya Majumdara. Haranya means gold. Of course, Govardhan means Govardhan. Anyway, the village where he took birth, like you have Aranyakashipu, the village where he took birth is known as Sri Krishnapura. What a great place. On the railway line between Calcutta and Burdwan is a station named Trishabhoga, now known as Adi Saptagrama, and about 1.5 miles away is the village of Sri Krishnapura, where the parental home of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami was situated. Wow. A temple of Sri Sri Radha Govinda is still there. In front of the temple is a large open area, but no large hall for devotees to assemble. A rich Calcutta gentleman. So actually, let me just mention what it means by that. The traditional system in India is that the temple would actually be rather small, but there'd be a kirtan hall, at least the Gaudiya system. Sorry, the Gaudiya Vaishnava system. Temple would be really small, but the kirtan area would be really big. Interesting. Maybe we should do that in Ugaloka. but no large hall for devotees to assemble. A rich Calcutta gentleman named Charana Gosha, who resided in a similar quarter, recently repaired the temple. The entire temple compound is surrounded by walls, and in a small room just to the side of the temple is a small platform on which Raghunath Das Goswami used to worship the deity. By the side of the temple is the dying river Saraswati. The forefathers of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami were all Vaishnavas and were very rich men. His spiritual master at home was Yadunandana Acharya. Although Raghunath Das was a family man, he had no attachment for his estate and wife. Seeing his tendency to leave home, his father and uncle engaged special bodyguards to watch over him. But nevertheless, it's like deprogramming, but nevertheless, he managed to escape their vigilance and went away to Jagannathpur to meet Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. This incident took place in the year 1439, Shakabda, year of our Lord, 1517. Let's see, how old was Raghunath Das Goswami? Let me just see. This is 17. So he was about 21. He was about 21 when he left home. Very interesting. Raghunath Das Goswami compiled 3 books named Stavamala or Stavavali, Dhanacharita, text pastime, and Mukta Charita, which we're going to see. He lived a long time, residing for the most of his life at Radhakund. Wish I was there. The place where Raghunath Das Goswami performed his devotional service still exists by Radhakund. Wow. He actually, his Bhajan Kutir is right next to Shamakund. And he was so austere that he didn't build a Bhajan Kutir in the beginning. He just lived outside. Now, living outside in India at that time, or now, is very difficult. But even more difficult then. I mean, now it's very difficult because it's very cold, it's very hot. So what happened is that that time there were tigers running around. You know, big. And we're not talking about pussycats. We're talking about big, like Bengali style tigers that are about 5 times the size of a man. I mean, they're big. So he would be chanting oblivious to the presence of tigers. And as he was chanting oblivious to the presence of tigers, Krishna stood in back of him with a stick to protect him from being attacked by a tiger. And then when it was very hot outside, Radharani would hold her shawl over his head to protect him from the sun. So when Sanatana Goswami saw that he was taking service from Radharani, actually Raghunath Das Goswami didn't know that. He was oblivious to that too. Sanatana Goswami chastised Raghunath Das Goswami and made him build something. Otherwise, he wasn't interested in building anything. And he came from the most opulent family. So this is interesting for us. I mean, many of us, you know, we join Krishna consciousness, we have all these habits. We're used to the fineness type things of life. We want big kitchens. We want big beds. We want soft beds. And Raghunath Das Goswami had all of that. All of that. And a wife that was like the wife of the heavenly demigod Indra. You know, you can imagine, let's say, take the most beautiful girl in the world today, whoever that is. I don't know. I'm a sannyasi. And magnify her by 100 times, and that's Raghunath Das Goswami's wife. In fact, his parents, they were so worried about him, his mother said to his father, "You should tie him up." And Raghunath Das Goswami's father said, "I've already tied him up with a beautiful wife. Who can control a devotee of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu?" Amazing, his renunciation. So he left all that, all this opulence and finery. He gave it all up, and he became very austere. In fact, he became so austere in Jagannath Puri that he was only eating the rice that was rejected by the cows that they threw out of the kitchen. And of course, he washed the rice and put a little salt on it, but that was it. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tried to eat some of that rice. He did one or two morsels, and that was all. I mean, so renounced from this world. So he almost completely gave up eating, and therefore he was very skinny and of weak health, but he lived a long life. His only concern was to chant the holy name of the Lord. He gradually reduced his sleeping until he was almost not sleeping at all. It is said that his eyes were always full of tears. When Srinivasacharya went to see Raghunath Das Goswami, the Goswami blessed him by embracing him. Srinivasacharya requested his blessings for preaching in Bengal, and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami granted them. In the Gauragana Dashdipika 186, it is stated that Srila Raghunath Das Goswami was formerly the gopi named Rasa Mandri. Sometimes it is said that he was Rati Mandri. Mandri means like a small girl before she comes to puberty, who helps Radha and Krishna and their pastimes, particularly Srimati Radharani, an assistant to Radharani. So his story is so amazing. He was trying to escape from home. Then one time, Lord Chaitanya advised him, no. Act like an ordinary person, but internally cultivate your love of God. Just like someone who has a paramour externally acts devotional, but internally is thinking of the paramour. He followed that advice later on by the association of Lord Nityananda during the Panihati festival. He got Lord Nityananda's blessings and was able to escape one night by the mercy of his guru, Yadunanda Acharya. He was able to escape and go to Jagannath Puri to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he remained with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for a longer period of time than any of the other Goswamis of Vrindavan. And so finally, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left this world, Raghunath Das Goswami was determined to end his life by going to Vrindavan and jumping from Govardhan Hill, but he was dissuaded from doing that by the other Goswamis who wanted to hear about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Wow. Because Raghunath Das Goswami knew more, at least amongst the Goswamis of Vrindavan, those in Vrindavan, of the final pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, more than any other Goswami knew. So every day he would recite for hours, telling stories about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the other Goswamis were in ecstasy to hear those stories, and one of the persons who heard those stories was Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who is the author of this present book that we're reading right now. So by the mercy of Raghunath Das Goswami, who spoke, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who heard, and had perfect memory in spite of being like 80-something years old, we are able to hear these final pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, the initial pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are there in the Chaitanya Bhagavat and the diary of Murari Gupta, and there's a lot of information about the initial pastimes. But as far as these final pastimes, there is quite a bit of information, but the Caitanya Charitamrta goes into greater depth and detail. Okay. Prabhu Samar Pila Tanre Swarupera Hate Prabhura Gupta Seva Kaila Swarupera Sate. When Raghunath Das Goswami approached Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Jagannath Puri, the Lord entrusted him to take to the care, not take, but to the care of Swarup Damodar, his secretary. Thus they both engaged in the confidential service of the Lord. The confidential service was the personal care of the Lord. Swarup Damodar acted as his secretary, attended the Lord's baths, meals, rest, and massages, and Raghunath Das Goswami assisted him. In effect, Raghunath Das Goswami acted as the assistant secretary of the Lord. And he was called the Raghu of Swarup, because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would give Raghunath Das Goswami instructions through Swarup Damodar Goswami. You know, one time Raghunath Das Goswami asked Swarup Damodar Goswami and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is the duty of one in the renounced order of life? One should not think of women even in dreams. One should not eat opulent food, wear fine clothes, but should always think of Krishna within his heart of hearts. That's the duty of one in the renounced order of life. Wow. Sadashavatsara kaila antaranga sevana swarupera antaradane haila vrindavana. He rendered confidential service to the Lord for 16 years at Jagannath Puri, and after the disappearance of both the Lord and Swarup Damodar, he left Jagannath Puri and went to Vrindavana. Vrindavane dvi bhaira charana dekhiya Govardhane tyajiva deha Ragupati kariya. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami intended to go to Vrindavan to see the lotus feet of Rupa and Sanatan and then give up his life by jumping from Govardhan Hill. This is the story we just told. Jumping from the top of Govardhan Hill is a system of suicide, especially performed by saintly persons. After the disappearance of Lord Caitanya and Swarup Damodar, Raghunath Das Goswami keenly felt separation from these two exalted personalities and therefore decided to give up his life by jumping from Govardhan Hill in Vrindavana. Before doing so, however, he wanted to see the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Eta nischayakari hoila Vrindavane Ashri Rupa Sanatanera Vandila Charane. Thus, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami came to Vrindavan, visited Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, and offered them his obeisances. Tabe dvi bhai tanre marte nadila nija tritiya bhai kari nikate rakila. These two brothers, however, did not allow him to die. They accepted him as their third brother and kept him in their company. Mahaprabhura Lila yatavahirantara dvi bhai tanramukhe shune nirantara. Because Raghunath Das Goswami was an assistant to Swarup Damodar, he knew much about the external and internal features of the pastimes of Lord Caitanya. Thus, the two brothers, Rupa and Sanatan, always used to hear of this from him. This is wonderful. So, Anajala Tyaga Koilanya Katana Alladvitina Matta Karena Vakshana. Raghunath Das Goswami gradually gave up all food and drink but a few drops of buttermilk. Wow. Sahasradandavadkare laya glakshalama dvi sahasra vaishnavere nitya paranama. As a daily duty, he regularly offered 1,000 obeisances to the Lord, chanted at least 100,000 holy names, that's 64 rounds approximately, and offered obeisances to 2,000 Vaishnavas. Wow. Rachidena Yonada Krishnara Manasa Sevana Rahareka Mahaprabhura Charita Katana. Day and night he rendered service within his mind to Radha and Krishna, and for 3 hours a day he discoursed about the character of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Oh, I would have loved to be there. Unfortunately, I would have loved to be there. Fortunately, I was not. I was immersed in the darkness of ignorance at that time. We have many things to learn about bhajana, worship of the Lord. By following in the footsteps of Raghunath Das Goswami, all the Goswamis engage in such transcendental activities as described by Srinivas Acharya in his poem about them, Krishnot Kirtanganar Natano Paro Premamritam Bodhiti. Following in the footsteps of Raghunath Das Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami, one has to execute devotional service very strictly, specifically by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Tina Sanya Radhakunde Apatita Snana Rajavasi Vaishnave Hare Alingana Mana. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami took 3 baths daily in the Radhakund lake. As soon as he found a Vaishnava residing in Vrindavan, he would embrace him and give him all respect. Sarda Sapta Prahara Kare Bhakti Rasadane Charidanda Nidraseya Nahi Kona Dine. He engaged himself in devotional service for more than 22.5 hours a day, and for less than 2 hours he slept, although in some days that also was not possible. Tanhara Sadanadviti Shunite Chamatkara Se Rupa Raghunatha Prabhu Ye Amara. I am struck with wonder when I hear about the devotional service he executed. I accept Srila. Wait a second, someone's calling me. I got to turn this off. Hold on a second. That just got rid of them. Okay. I'm struck with wonder when I hear about the devotional service he executed. I accept Srila Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami as my guides. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami accepted Raghunath Das Goswami as his special guide. Therefore, at the end of every chapter, he says, Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Yara Asa Caitanya Charitamrta Kahi Krishnadasa. Sometimes it is misunderstood that by using the word Raghunatha, he wanted to offer his respectful obeisances to Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, for it is sometimes stated that Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami was his initiating spiritual master. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami does not approve of this statement. He does not accept Raghunath Das Goswami as the spiritual master of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Inha sabara yache kaila prabhura milana agevastariya tahat kariba varnana. I shall later explain very elaborately how all these devotees met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shri Gopal Bhatta Eka Shaka Sarvottama Rupa Sanata Sange Yanra Prema Alapana. Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, the 47th branch, was one of the great and exalted branches of the tree. He always engaged in discourses about love of Godhead in the company of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Purport. Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami was the son of Venkata Bhatta, resident of Srirangam. Gopal Bhatta formerly belonged to the disciplic succession of the Ramanuja Sampradaya, but later became part of the Gaudiya Sampradaya. In the year 1433, Shikhabda, that's year of our Lord, 1511, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was touring South India, he stayed for 4 months during the period of Chaturmasha at the house of Venkata Bhatta, who then got the opportunity to serve the Lord to his heart's content. Gopal Bhatta also got the opportunity to serve the Lord at this time. Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami was later initiated by his uncle, the great sannyasi Prabodhananda Saraswati. Both the father and mother of Gopal Bhatta Goswami were extremely fortunate, for they dedicated their entire lives to the service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They allowed Gopal Bhatta Goswami to go to Vrindavan, and they gave up their lives thinking of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Lord Chaitanya was later informed that Gopal Bhatta Goswami had gone to Vrindavan and met Sri Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, he was very pleased, and he advised Sri Rupa and Sanatana to accept Gopal Bhatta Goswami as their younger brother and take care of him. Sri Sanatana Goswami, out of his great affection for Gopal Bhatta Goswami, compiled a Vaishnava Smriti named Hari Bhakti Vilas and published it under his name. Under the instruction of Srila Rupa and Sanatana, Gopal Bhatta Goswami installed one of the 7 principal deities of Vrindavan. The Radharaman deity, the Saivites, priests of the Radharaman temple, belonged to our Gaudiya Sampradaya. When Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami took permission from all the Vaishnavas before writing Sri Chaitanya Caritamrta, Gopal Bhatta Goswami also gave him blessings, but requested him not to mention his name in the book. Therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has mentioned Gopal Bhatta Goswami only very cautiously in 1 or 2 passages of the Chaitanya Caritamrta. Srila Jiva Goswami has written in the beginning of his Tattva Sandarbha, a devotee from southern India who was born of a Brahmin family, was a very intimate friend of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, has written a book that he has not compiled systematically. Therefore, I, a tiny living entity known as Jiva, am trying to present the book systematically, consulting the direction of great personalities like Madhvacharya, Sridhar Swami, Ramanujacharya, and other senior Vaishnavas in disciplic succession. In the beginning of the Bhagavad Sandarbha, there are similar statements by Srila Jiva Goswami. Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami compiled a book called the Satkriya Saradipika, edited the Hari Bhakti Vilas, wrote a foreword to the Shat Sandarbha and a commentary on the Krishna Karnamrita, and installed the Radharaman deity in Vrindavan. In the Gaura Ganadeshtipika, it is mentioned that his previous name in the pastimes of Lord Krishna was Ananga Mandri. And actually, you have several devotees who are incarnations of Ananga Mandri anyway, including Janaba. Sometimes he is also said to have been an incarnation of Guna Mandri. Srinivasacharya and Gopinath Pujari were two of his disciples. So just one little story about the Radharaman deity. Gopal Bhatta Goswami was a very humble Vaishnava. One time he went to the Gandaki River to get some Shalagram Shilas. He got 8 of them, brought them back to Vrindavan, felt that he wasn't qualified, went back to the Gandaki River, put them in the river, and they jumped into his hand. He put them in the river again. They jumped back in his hands, and so he understood the deities wanted to be worshipped. He brought them to Vrindavan, and he was worshiping them, and he was feeling a little remorseful that he didn't have deities that he could dress. And even one day, a rich man gave him some cloth to dress his Shilas or deity with. And he was feeling great separation from being able to dress a deity. So the next morning he woke up and one of the Shilas, the Damodar Shila, became a full-fledged deity, form of Krishna. And that's Radharaman. That deity is still there in Vrindavan. You can go see him today. And they have a very elaborate deity worship in that temple, the Radharaman temple. And in the back of the deity, you can see the form of the Shalagram Shila from which the deity came. Amazing story. Shankaranya Charya Vriksharaika Shaka Mukunda Kashinatha Rudra Upashaka Leka. The Acharya Shankaranya was considered the 48th branch of the original tree. From him proceeded the sub-branches known as Mukunda, Kashinath, and Rudra. It is said that Shankaranya was the sannyas name of Srila Vishwarup, who was the elder brother of Vishwambara, the original name of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Shankaranya expired in 1432 Shakabda, year of our Lord, 1510, at Sholapur, where there is a place of pilgrimage known as Pandarapura. This is referred to in the Madhya Lila, chapter 9, verses 299 and 300. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anabhasha, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opened a primary school in the house of Mukunda, or Mukunda's Sanjaya, and Mukunda's son, whose name was Purushottam, became the Lord's student. Kashinath arranged the marriage of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his previous ashram when his name was Vishwambar. Kashinath induced the court Pandit Sanatan to offer Vishwambar his daughter. In text 50 of the Gauraganda-Dipika, it is mentioned that Kashinath was an incarnation of the Brahman Kulaka, who Satyajit sent to arrange the marriage of Krishna and Satyabhama. And in text 135, it is mentioned that Rudra, or Shri Rudra Rama Pandit, was formerly a friend of Lord Krishna's name, Varutapa. Shri Rudra Rama Pandit constructed a big temple at Ballabhapura, which is 1 mile north of Mahesha, for the deity named Radha Ballava. The descendants of his brother Yadunandana Vandyopadhyaya are known as Chakravarti Thakuras, and they are in charge of the maintenance of this temple as Sevites. Formerly, the Jagannath deity used to come to the temple of Radha Ballabha from Mahesha during the Rath Yatra festival, but in the Bengali year 1262, that's AD 1855, due to a misunderstanding between the priests of the two temples, the Jagannath deity stopped coming. So, we went up to text 106 today. Okay, just marking that. And we'll continue tomorrow with text 107. That comes after 106. And now we will take some questions. Hold on a second. I have to unmute everybody. And if you see light and shadows across me, that's because the sun is coming in. It's springtime here in New Galoka. Spring has sprung all of a sudden. It was winter yesterday and spring today. That's pretty good. I don't know if it's technically spring, probably not, but it feels like it. We're ready to go swimming. So, okay, so whoever wants to speak can unmute themselves and speak now or forever hold your peace. Does anyone want to speak? Let me make sure I have the speech thing.
Hare Krishna, brother.
Oh, Rishikesh. Okay, you have a
This is
question.
Gurudev. Yes, Gurudev. From these pastimes of Raghunath Das Goswami, Krishna protecting him from behind from a tiger, and
Yeah.
Sanatan Goswami saying, "What do we learn? I mean, should we not really ask Krishna for any favor if we are in trouble?"
Well, that's Raghunath. Basically, we shouldn't ask Krishna for any personal favor, but we should take the trouble to do something for ourselves. In other words, we don't want to take service from Krishna. We can ask Krishna for the benefit of another Vaishnava, just like if we know a Vaishnava. I think I mentioned last night, one of my good friends, Gokul Ranjana, is actually very sick with COVID. And I was talking to him yesterday, and he could hardly breathe. And I was asking the devotees to pray to Krishna. So we can pray to Krishna for others' benefit, for service, and things like that. But like we wouldn't want to pray for Krishna for ourselves. And we don't really find Prabhupada praying to Krishna for good health.
Right. Yeah.
I don't, I prayed for Prabhupada's good health when Prabhupada was on the planet. But I don't have any instance of Prabhupada. Like Prabhupada was having heart attacks on the boat. And he didn't really, as far as I know, he didn't pray to Krishna, please take these heart attacks away. In fact, when Prabhupada was in New York, he utilized the doctrine when he had another heart attack. And he took things in his own hands. He started exercising, that is, walking every day. He didn't say, Krishna, please cure my heart. You're the Lord. You can cure my heart. So generally, yes, a devotee doesn't want to take service from Krishna unless it's for Krishna's service. You can ask Krishna to empower you. You can ask Krishna for the welfare of another Vaishnava. You can ask Krishna to bring someone to Krishna consciousness. Please let them realize they're not the body. After 50 years in the Hare Krishna movement, they should realize they're not the body. So, yeah, so you can ask Krishna for that. But I think as far as other things, but Raghunath Das Goswami had as a specific duty to show the topmost renunciation because he came from a super rich family. So it's not that all of us have that particular duty, thank God. For example, you have Pundarik Vijayanidhi, who was Rishabhanu in Krishna's pastimes, and he was living very opulently. And there's no indication that Ramananda Roy was living very simply either, or King Prataparuja was living very simply. So there's no need of external renunciation, unless that happens to be your service. If Lord Chaitanya says, you got to show external renunciation, then that is your service. And so, anyway, we shouldn't ask Krishna for anything for ourselves. We should understand Nitya Nityanam, Chaitanya Chaitanasnam, Chaitananam, Eko Bahunam Yovedadati. Come on, Krishna is providing all of our needs. So I ask Krishna for other people's benefit. I ask Krishna to empower me, to put words in my mouth, to give me his mercy, to make me detached from this world, to make me love him. Not make me love him. I have to decide to love him. But give me the facility to advance in devotional service. Many things like that we're praying to Krishna for, but I don't think I've ever prayed for health of myself. I have not yet prayed, Krishna, make me look young again. You know that story this is a story where Narada Muni prayed, Krishna, give me a face like Hari or something like that. Or in another part of that story, a face that nobody will forget. And then Krishna gave him the face of a monkey. So you got to be careful when you ask Krishna for something for yourself. It's not a very healthy request, because Krishna may give it to you, but in such a way that it really makes you miserable. Okay?
Thank you, Gurudev.
Okay, but yes, you should build a bhajan kutir. If you go to Radhakund and stay there, you shouldn't just sit out in the sun. Uh, and actually, nowadays it would be more dangerous because there's dacoits there. I think tigers are one thing, but even more dangerous than tigers are dacoits. Prabhupada said
Even in
a what?
even in Radhakund, there are dacoits.
Yes. Oh yeah, plenty of dacoits. This is this is India. Dacoit loca. One time we were taking a bus trip. I was guiding a bus across India, and the devotees told me, "Don't take the bus at night." And I said, "Why not?" They said, "Because the dacoits put logs or different things in the road to stop the bus, and then they attack you in the bus and they take everything from you." And also, originally, when someone arrived in Mathura in the train station, uh, then people would take a tonga. A tonga is like a horse cart uh, to Vrindavan, and then you get attacked by dacoits at night. It happened to people. Vrindavan people got attacked by dacoits. Vrindavan, Radhakund, anywhere in this world there's dacoits. It's a dangerous place. Dacoits. What was my experience with dacoits? Oh, I had some experience with Naxalites. I was on a train many years ago when I was a young whippersnapper. I was on a train from Calcutta to Mayapur, and I think I was riding in a baggage car or something like that. I was very adventurous in those days. And the Naxalites came up to me and they challenged me. Naxalites were communists who actually, and they think they're still there in India today. And they challenged me, and I thought, this is it, leaving my body, Hare Krishna. And anyway, nothing happened. I'm still here today. So, and then also the Naxalites challenged Prabhupada when Prabhupada was doing a Pandal program. They were very upset that the dignitaries were sitting in front, and Prabhupada was able to pacify them somehow or other. So that's India. It's dangerous. I mean, America's dangerous too. You got dacoits here, you got racists here, you got sexists here. I mean, I wouldn't say that America's any less dangerous. You got cars here, go fast. India, you got cars that go fast too. But everywhere there's danger. Padam padam yadvi padam nateyasham. So, yes, in Radhakund there are dacoits there. That is a fact. I can verify that. And there's people run around with guns, with pistols in Radhakund. So you just have to be really careful wherever you go. Okay. Who else wants to ask a question?
I have a question, Maharaj.
Oh, it sounds like Pran Govinda. Yeah.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Prabhupada.
All glories to Prabhupada. So what's up?
Maharaj Madhavendra Puri, he was fasting so much so that he did not beg for food or his livelihood from others.
Yes.
If things came automatically, he would take them, otherwise he would fast. So
Yes.
Krishna came by and supplied some food, and that pastime is appreciated by all the acharyas, including you.
Yes, including me.
But when Rupa Goswami cooked some sweet rice for Sanatan Goswami, it was at the end very disappointment. Even Sanatan Goswami Pad was not happy. Neither Rupa Goswami Pad.
Yeah, because
But it's a
sweet rice was coming. The sweet rice was coming from Radharani. I mean, the ingredients was coming from Radharani, right?
But the point is, then where is you draw a line that, I mean, his intention was not for his own enjoyment. He wanted to serve Sanatan Goswami Guru. Was not
Yes,
something wrong.
but he had the desire, and there 4 ingredients, and the ingredients came from Radharani. Whereas Madhavendra Puri had no desires. He wasn't thinking, Krishna, I would like to get something. It's a little bit different.
But he didn't know that it was from Radharani. It was confirmed by Sanatana Goswami later, but
yeah. But he should have I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to criticize these great devotees. You know, I can't say you should have known. It was a pastime. It was a pastime.
But the principle of where we can ask some help. Like Prabhupada said, yes, we can ask Krishna to force us to surrender. He did say that.
Yes, that's what I said. We can ask Krishna to bring us to his lotus feet. But Prabhupada never prayed for good health.
But he told the disciple while he was sick that they can pray for him, that he didn't finish his...
They can pray. He said, you can pray. What Prabhupada precisely said, he says, you can pray, my dear Lord, if you so desire, please cure Srila Prabhupada. Yes.
But that was his inspiration, Maharaj.
Yes. So the devotees could pray because it was the devotee's desire. So Prabhupada was reciprocating with the devotee's desire. But Prabhupada himself never asked anything from Krishna except for the empowerment to preach Krishna consciousness and carry out the order of his spiritual master.
Okay.
We're not, devotees don't ask. Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami didn't ask anything from Radharani. Neither did Madhavendra Puri ask something from Krishna. They came and gave it.
Correct.
That's a little bit different. And Raghunath Das Goswami had the ability to do something for himself, and he got chastised by Sanatana Goswami because he didn't take the endeavor after getting the instruction from Sanatana Goswami to build a kutir, and he could have done it. Instead, he made Krishna do it. So that's, it's a little different. But anyway, it's a pastime. I mean, if I were to stand outside with tigers, the tigers would eat me. Krishna wouldn't protect me.
Can I ask you one question, Maharaj?
The tigers would recite the prasadam prayer if they saw me.
You are really funny.
That's what would happen if there were tigers. It was not that Krishna would protect me. Krishna would say, "This fool, he's out there with tigers. Let the tigers eat him."
No, Maharaj, I don't think so. I don't believe your word.
Yes,
I think Krishna will protect
if
you.
I was so foolish to go to the zoo and jump into the tiger cage, I don't think Krishna would protect me.
You will never do that, Maharaj. I can see that you will never do that. You're just saying it. Thank you for being such a nice example of humility.
Yeah.
Maharaj, I have another question.
Anyway, I'm not going to tell the joke. Okay, to ask the question.
Please tell the joke, Maharaj. Please tell the joke.
No, I'm not going to tell the joke. I refuse to do it because people get upset. All right, so okay, Pran Govinda, you have one more question.
I was always thinking that highest understanding, as Prabhupada said, highest understanding of Krishna consciousness realization will be when one is willing to give the truth to others in such a manner that they will respond positively. Maybe I missed one or twisted. I'm paraphrasing just what I understood from Prabhupada. But then I'm hearing also your explanation, which is nice, but I'm little not so sure. Is the inspiration comes in a form of chastisement or encouragement?
What's
like yesterday you discussed about the chastisement is like a great mercy. Is the mercy manifesting as the inspiration, encouragement, or chastisement is also considered mercy, but it's not really known as a mercy? Correction.
Correction is mercy. Correction, like when Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu chastised Jagadananda Pandit, it was out of love. So it depends on the relationship.
I see.
I mean, I wouldn't mind, or when Lord Chaitanya, when Lord Nityananda kicked Shivananda saying, that was pretty blissful. I would like to get kicked by Lord Nityananda. Instead, the only person who's kicking me is Maya Devi, the illusory energy. So,
You are really advanced, Maharaj. If you have that kind of desire to get kicked by Nityananda.
wow, I would love to get kicked. That's an advancement. It's just like a desire for advancement.
So
I
how
would
to
love it.
understand?
I would love
How
it
to
if Lord
understand?
Nityananda. How to understand? I would love it if
That's
Lord Nityananda came and kicked me. That would be the most blissful experience that I've ever had eternally.
Maharaj Srikanta could not take that as a mercy.
Because he was concerned with his uncle. Srikanta wasn't the one who got kicked. It was Shivananda Singh. Because he was concerned, he loved his uncle who was a Vaishnava. That's all. Like if I saw you getting kicked by Lord Nityananda, I would get envious.
Thank you, Maharaj, for the blessing. I love that. Thank you.
I would love it.
Bye.
If Lord Nityananda came and just whacked me, or Prabhupada kicked me, that would be the highlight of my existence. Oh my God. I pray for that. I pray to be kicked by Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. Okay, I think we have to end now. I had a
Thank you.
long day. Thank you very much. We'll see everybody.